Welcome to PAO Fans International, special Australian and American edition. We've got Nick and we've got Alex. Welcome, boys. How are we feeling?
Bum, bring it on. Good,
I'm
good to have Alex on. I've been looking forward to
yeah,
this the last couple of days.
yeah, I'm excited. I was telling Nick before we started recording that I feel like I've known him years because I've been listening to him on LS Footy, but this is the first time that we're actually face to face in some extent.
And
How good is it? How good is it being a Panathinaikos fan all of a sudden?
Riding the high. Still am, will be for who knows how long. That's how basically what then, Nick. That's what we were saying.
Yes, yes.
that's been the purpose of
Voodoo, 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 voodoo. Que prasini magia. Oh,
I got my this is one of the first articles of clothing I ever owned that was
Ella.
Panathinaikos. It's a sweater of BC that was already out of date. It's not coming into focus, but it has 3 stars, and now it's
At
already out of, it's more out of date than it was before.
and that's been the
they,
purpose
they,
of
they acted so quick, eh? The seventh's already on. Have you seen the redesigned badge?
Yeah. Even I was looking even I don't know about your apps, but if you look at your sports apps, it's already updated on SofaScore.
Yeah.
It's already updated with a 7 star. It's not going to
Within
come up, is it?
seconds.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Within
it's
seconds,
crazy.
it was all updated with the game
It's
finishing.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and that's been the purpose of the PAO Fans International. It's brought the worldwide bowl community, or try to bridge a worldwide bowl community into one place. And here we are celebrating the long overdue success.
13 years
Yeah.
for a giant of European basketball. That's far too long. And what a way to do it. You guys, especially Alex, being living in America, basketball's huge there. Not like that here. I'm, as you know, bigger on the football side, but I know enough to know that Panathinaikos is a giant when it comes to basketball, and the club had it way too tough for the last few years, and then the turnaround's just phenomenal.
Now third in total titles, EuroLeague, one behind CSK in second
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
I mean, it's massive. It's massive.
But it's the whole mentality now. Within seconds of it finishing, you got Yanakopoulos saying, "Let's go for the eighth."
Yeah, because why not?
Exactly.
Speaking of CSK, they were one of the first to congratulate us and acknowledge us as well on that. So fair game to them. They've been missing for the last couple of seasons. I think my personal opinion is let them back in. There's sports for uniting the world, not outcasting some when won't get more into the political stuff, but let's kick things off. Final four started on the
Friday,
25th of May on the Saturday of the Friday
Friday for yeah.
for the Europe and American side. Panathinaikos defeated Fenerbahce 73-57. Um, that one was a big surprise, mainly because we came out to a 12-0 start. We were just on fire, and Fenerbahce couldn't do anything. And if you look at the stats wise, we just dominated every single category. Field goal percentages, 3-point percentages, apart from the free throw, which seems to be a bit of an Achilles heel. Everything was just fire. They didn't even come close at all at any point. I think the closest that the margin got to may have been about um 2 or 3 at halftime, but after that it just blew out. I think for that one, when you look at the stats as well, individual stats, you'd probably say best players was Lasort was great in that game. Kendrick Nunn was pretty solid. Slukas was a bit disappointing, we found in that game. Grigonis came all right. Galaidzakis came out with some big defensive plays. He sparked that defense. Was really positive. And with that win, we faced Real Madrid, who's leading the EuroLeague. They absolutely punished Olympiacos. The expectation going into that was going to be a difficult task. It was going to be very difficult, but we absolutely smashed them. First quarter, we were down by 11 by the end of the first quarter. Real Madrid set the record for most points scored in the final four or in the final. And then from there, it was all Panathinaikos. We caused Real Madrid to record the lowest score in the final four as well. With in the third quarter, they recorded only 7 points. So from there, it was a massive defensive effort um, from Panathinaikos, and the stats also reflect that as well. And the stats would be blown out even more if it wasn't for Real Madrid's incredible first quarter. So that's something as well. A lot of foul trouble with their bigs. How did you boys see the final? Or if you want to discuss both finals, how do you guys see them?
Alex, you go first.
Yeah, the semifinal, we kind of that 12-0 run in the beginning was the difference, really. We ended up, I know, winning by like 15, but that 12-0 run was the difference. And I'm gonna say that we went on that 12-0 run and then we never looked back. I know Fener made, tried to make some comebacks here and there within two or three, but there were no lead changes in the entire game. We took the lead in the beginning and we kept the lead for the entire game, regardless if it went down to two or if it was as much as 12. So that was the big thing there for me. I think overall the game we played pretty well. I think there was some split opinions about it in the chat, but I think, I mean, if you don't surrender the lead the whole game, I think you've done something pretty well. And I thought it was all right. I think Slukas was the only kind of disappointment in that game. He really didn't show up there, but again, we didn't need him, and that's a championship caliber team when one of your main guys doesn't show up and the other guys pick him up and you could still win by 15, 16 points. I think that says something right there. As for the final, completely different story. We were down by, for the 12 that we were up against Fener in the beginning, we were down, like you said, Sturge, by 11 early on. It wasn't looking good, because Real is, the one team in Europe where you don't want to go down by those double digits. You go down by those double digits, and it could be your death sentence. So I was feeling a little worried there. I didn't give up hope. I thought there was always faith, and I said in the chat, as long as we get this within 5 by half, we have a chance. Because if you're down by like 10 or something by half, at half, you still have a chance, but then that's just going to play into Real's hand. They're going to start fouling. They're not going to let you play. They're going to buckle down. And it's really not going to be easy for you to climb out of that hole if it's at double digits at half. But we kept it at exactly 5 at half, and then we just ended up running away with it. It was fantastic performances by Sluka, by Nunn. They were the two standouts. Lesor was good. I think he was a little more quiet in that final game. But again, like I said about the semifinal, some of your guys step up, some of your guys, are not having their day, and that's what a championship caliber team does.
And what about yourself, Nick?
Uh, semi against Fener. Well, the two games, they're polar opposites really, because you mentioned Surge. We built up that, we came racing out of the blocks, 12-point lead early doors. Compare that stark contrast to the final against Real Madrid, where we looked down and out. At one point, 14 points down at one stage. So that's the thing, to not only beat the team that finished first in the regular season, but to beat them so comfortably in the end. We knew with like 2 minutes left, we were starting to celebrate. From being 14 down to celebrating, knowing it's all wrapped up with a couple of minutes to spare. It doesn't get better than that. Player of the Final Four, Lesor, for me, from what I saw. The first game was more of the lesser, like less so Nunn and Slukas, more so Galaitzakis and Grant. Then the final, you had the big guns come out, the Nuns and Lesor and Slukas, of course, who got the MVP. But yeah, we talk about our opponents in that were the favourites, Real Madrid. They made history. I don't know if you guys saw the most points scored in a Final Four match in a quarter, and then in the same game, the least scored, which is testament to our defence, really. They all stood big, and Lesor was just a monster at the back, like a rock. And those rebounds, he was everywhere.
Yeah. Also want to add, while Fenerbahce finished on 57 points in the EuroLeague regular season, they were averaging, I believe, like 90 or 90 plus points. So that's a big testament to the defense as well. And you saw the difference in class and player attitude and behavior in the final where they would foul us, complete fouls, and they would chuck tantrums over it. Their players would chuck tantrums, come butts all.
Madrid.
Yeah,
Yeah. How bad was that? The Tavares?
Tavares, Poria,
Lau, I can't even say it. The one with L. How do you put with double L?
they're just
Jul,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they're just chucking tantrums while a bad call went against us, and our players just turned around and got with the job. So just different in class as well.
I think it was clear that Real Madrid got rattled. I don't know. I can't remember like what was the turning point, but there were not. I don't want to say like they want everything handed to them, but I think they were the favorites in the game, and they at some point they started feeling like they weren't the favorites, and I think, yeah, man, credit to the fucking fans. Credit to the fans. Like home game, Oaxaca. That's the difference right there. I I I don't care. I don't care if it's Real Madrid or Fener. Like even the best team in Europe, the number one seed in Real is gonna bow down to Gate 13.
That I think that played a role in the turning point. The momentum fully swung by the third quarter, but again, the fans played their role in that. They really did. It was, as you said, Alex. It was like a home game. They felt it. We've gone this far. And we haven't even mentioned the main man of the show, in Ataman. He's now the best coach. He's got to be. Surely, you guys know more. He's got to be the best coach in Europe.
He's won 3 out of the 4 past Euro leagues. Obviously, 2 with Anadolu, and now 1 with us. And the only one that he didn't win was the one last year where Real beat Olympiacos.
Yeah. With the momentum change, it came in the second quarter when he shifted to the defensive unit and Real Madrid got into foul trouble. So Jerry and Grant was huge. Galazakis was huge in that defensive unit. Guys like Juancho was solid there as well, getting some more minutes. Mitoglu was very good as well. So that's when I noticed the momentum shift. There was some big defensive plays, getting Real Madrid also on the fence, foul trouble, and that's when the momentum really shifted.
It was crucial
Yeah,
though, not as Alex said, not to let it get into double digits. I was watching on it was great commentary of the stream I was on, and they were saying get to halftime in single digits.
yeah.
Yeah. And then even when we were getting close to the lead or just had taken the lead, it was that 2 3 point game. We were still
Yeah,
very
for a while.
it wasn't until a cool head in Slukas came and um slowed down the game, showed his leadership, and he hit a couple of big threes right before halftime. He hit back-to-back threes, really big shots, and then he came really clutch. His leadership and just his high IQ game is what really set the tone. Even Mitoglu really shot well as well. He had a couple of big baskets in that momentum run as well. So there was some really big plays, and Sulkas was the architect in a lot of that and well deserved MVP. And
Oh,
congratulations.
this is why we brought him in.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
achieved his dream. He won a EuroLeague with Panathinaikos. Seemed to enjoy that more than what he's won before. So and it's testament to him, DPG bringing in the right personnel. There was calls that he was washed up, overpaid, we're going to fall apart, and he really shut everyone up. He really shut up all these experts, all these haters, and at the end of the day, he's once again a European champion.
It shows when everyone pulls in the one direction. Well, it's amazing what can be achieved. We spoke about Ataman. How about big mention here for Dimitris Yanakopoulos? He's now fully stepped out of the shadows of his father and uncle now, and this is his Euro League essentially compared to compare our position now to where we were this time 12 months ago. The basketball side of things, he went to the NBA, he got none. not a main man there, but someone, career crossroads. He went to the arch rivals, got the out of favor main man there, got the best coach in Europe. Then everyone pulled together from there on. And I'm always big on the next day sort of thing. Like, you look at the optimism moving forward with the basketball side of things. The season tickets, Oaka's sold out. Everyone's gonna come to Oaka next season, EuroLeague. They're gonna be shitting themselves having to play us.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll talk about Ataman soon, but you can see post game straight away, DPG, the raw emotion he showed as well. He didn't want to. It looked like he was just processing it all. He didn't. When Sukas was calling him over to hoist the trophy, he just wanted time to reflect. And you're right. He did step out of the shadows from his father and his uncle, who built essentially the club to be as big as it was, and for him to win this Euro League, um, he did it on his own, the
On
own,
his own.
and
At one stage, he was on the nose. Remember with Gate 13?
yeah, it was a few years ago, and it
Yeah.
was only a couple of years ago they said, "All right, we'll just put it to bed." There's pictures circulating of like the last game last season against, I think, Bayern Munich, where we played in an empty stadium, and turn that around now this season. Apart from a couple of early games in the season, all the games were pretty much sold out. It was the ticket to the hot ticket in town.
And it had to be. We won our seventh star now is sewn on. And the last one, it's going to be the iconic Fanella now with the Acropolis, the Parthenon on there.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll talk about Jason, but yeah, Ataman, big part. He came out, he talked a big game,
He
uh,
did.
and he backed it up. He backed it up, and I think his coaching style, in especially these last two games, even Maccabi, we were very unlucky in some of those games. We blew the lead in I think the first game, or the third game three, we should have won. But his coaching style really lifted the team, and Yanis being at the ground at the Tukumbo, really, saying that I wish you were my coach, shows what kind of a man and what kind of a coach he is. If you're getting one of the world's best players just giving you that acknowledgement and that praise, that's a big thing.
That says it
Yeah, I
all
mean,
right there.
yeah, he called him number one coach in the world. It's not a small thing, and I think it's a testament. Look where we were last year. You touched on it, Sturge. Second bottom to champions. Second bottom to champions. That's a testament of the coaching. That's a testament of the players, and that's a testament to the decision making of DPG. Those kind of turnarounds you don't see ever really. That's an insane turnaround. That's unheard of. That kind of improvement takes multiple years in normal circumstances, and we did it in a matter of 365 days, 12 years, 12 years, 12 months, second bottom to top. Can't take that for granted.
Did he not do something similar at Anadolu FS? Weren't they?
Were
Were they down
were
the bottom? I heard when he took
were
over.
they? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that. But even I was gonna say, even this all happened because the Aguilopoli brothers from Olympiacos taunted him, took it
Poke
personal,
the bear.
and just showed them.
I swear I sent it to you guys. What he put up, one of his stories.
Wait, which one?
Don't fuck with me. When I do it back to you, trust me, it hurts more.
But yeah, even his post game interview live on TV, just saying others count fouls, we count championships, we
Yeah,
count.
I
So
saw that.
live on there, that was quite funny. So um, yeah, that's going to lead now. The Greek League season still is going on. I believe we've got Ardis in the
Artist.
finals in, I think, best out of five or best out of
That's coming days.
sorry.
Yeah, I
It's in
think
the coming days.
Yeah,
It
starts
starts.
Thursday
We're gonna have to
here,
rotate.
American time Thursday.
Yeah. So Friday then here. We'll have to rotate fully, wouldn't we? Especially for that first game.
I'd say, especially with that, he said not a powerhouse. I think a lot of more the fringe players will be getting more minutes in that. And we know with a couple of the players already as well have announced that, or through the media, that they will be departing at season end. So we know Vildoza will be going to Red Star. Balcherowski is moving on as well. So we know there will be recruits on next season. But with the artist game, look, we definitely should be going through. I don't think there'd be too much trouble, but a lot of the fringe players will be getting more minutes. So your Costa Gumbo should be seeing a lot more minutes as well. Give Lesot a little bit of a breather.
Grigonis.
Grigonis will be getting more game time. Moraitis, Kalaitzakis, those guys should be getting quite a few more minutes. So give the main guys a bit of a breather, because most likely 98, 99% sure we'll be versing the Gavri again in the final.
Yeah. And that's a best out of 5 as well, isn't it? First of 3 for
Yeah.
the final too.
That's 5, yeah.
It gives us something for the month of June to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So overall it's been a good season. So if you look at the season review, to date it's an A, almost it's an A plus.
A plus.
A plus. Ali was gonna say A because of the Greek Cup not winning it, but Ataman didn't take that serious. So, but with the Euro League as it stands, I will give it an A plus. If we don't win the league, then
Yeah.
sorry, probably goes down to an A. But as it stands, it's an A plus with the Euro League win. The recruitment's been amazing. Apart from 1-2 players who probably have disappointed, notably Vildoza. But it did come on, gave good energy.
Yeah.
But if you look at his season overall, he's been quite the disappointment.
Even the guys in the beginning who were underperforming, like Juancho's the main name there. You know, he ended up being a big key down the road in the playoffs. You know, he turned up. There were very few who you could say over the entirety of the season were subpar. Those are one of them. Yes, you know, Balcherowski wasn't anything special, but you know, almost all the guys over you know however many months, 9 months, contributed at some point in a major way.
And the celebrations in Athens that have been going on
All
across,
of Greece.
I would say,
All
or
of Greece.
the majority of Greece. So even the islands, there's been firework displays. Rhodos, even Mytilene had fireworks, fans going off.
Samos,
Samos,
Kos,
yeah,
Kriti, Patra was huge.
yeah.
Patra was huge.
So
Even northern parts, every corner.
so it's been quite big.
Komotini, Alexandroupolis, those sort of places as well.
I think I saw something with Lodigan went out to celebrate it as well in Xanthi. I think he's got something there in Xanthi. I did see an article on it where fans saw him and flocked to him. So it's quite big. So yeah, the celebrations have been wild, but the job's not done yet. We have to focus now on the league. So half the job's done. We need to beat Olympiacos in the league to just prove our big brother status, essentially, of who runs the Greek league as well.
That's it. That's the mentality we've got to have. Exactly that. We've returned to our rightful place, but part of that is being switched on and going on with it. This is, if there's a trophy that's got there to be won, we've got to contest it and win it.
Yeah, yeah. And our good friend Mitzel, who told us he might join late, has been amongst the partying there.
He was at Leoforos, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That looked insane. Leoforos looked the night when we won it. That looked wild. Even Omonia, like we're talking 30,000 people. That hasn't happened since Greece won Euro 2004.
Yeah, absolutely.
The biggest club-based celebration ever in all of Greece.
I hope
Then the airport. The next day, the airport.
Yeah, and the photos of the Michanaka next to the bus as
The
well.
bus.
Lesort with the flare as well. The flares and Juancho with the flares. Just
the megaphone. Yeah.
yeah. Lesort seems to be the fan favorite. Just drinking, chanting with the fans, leading.
Chanting.
Yeah.
He even got on a motorbike. He got on someone's Michanaki.
He also had the megaphone leading the chanting. So he's just what a guy. What a guy. And
And to think he was the one with the Fener fans.
yeah, before when they landed in. And yeah, I was gonna say
True.
the disappointing thing mainly about the Bowl BC, the jerseys, is the access and availability to them. They
Oh
haven't
my
You,
God.
sold them.
you.
And the
I
ownership,
was I was I was raging during the final that I didn't have a jersey. I mean, all season I've been so upset about it. But then in the final, I'm like, oh my God, if there was any day to have a jersey, it's today.
Yeah.
and there's only one shop that was selling it, and it's only Europe friendly where you can buy it from. There's no shipping options to anywhere outside of Europe, which is very disappointing. Especially if that's the Bowl affiliate shop to buy merchandise. It's not a good thing. So hopefully they fix up that. And the website needs a bit of work, the Bowl BC website, but just accessibility to accessories, especially with Bowl BC on the rise, being getting that whole ESPN coverage in America where it would have gotten a lot of viewers. They should have capitalized on that.
That was big. Yeah, I mean, we said at the beginning of the season. I mean, for the for those who don't know, ESPN is the number one sports network here in America,
Yeah.
and all the EuroLeague games, all the teams televised on ESPN. Which, listen, it made the viewing for me and our fellow guys in America very easy. But like you said, Serge, the exposure is massive. I think they had a few issues. I think they really buried the EuroLeague down very far. Like you had to kind of look to find the EuroLeague games, which I think was, I mean, expected because that's not the main thing here in America. But I think it was massive. The exposure is massive.
Yeah, and if you saw, Pippen came out with comments, which was very, very good reading, that he wished that the American basketball was like the EuroLeague in terms of the fans going in early, chanting how crazy and wild they are. He wished the American fans were like that. So,
E- everyone who comes to Europe says that. Doncic a couple weeks ago said the same thing. I think he saw our atmosphere after one of the Maccabi games. I think he saw our
Harvey,
atmosphere and
game
he
five.
made a comment about it. Giannis made his own comments. I mean, look at him. He was videoing like a little kid during Horto Magico. Like Scottie Pippen, like you said, made the comments. Everybody who comes, even just for one game, immediately it's the atmosphere that turns their head.
Yeah, we had Bill Murray there, Dennis Schroeder as well. So yeah, lucky fans. Even the commentator Josh Bett
Mm.
was all on it. So yeah, really what scenes. Anything final words on basketball before we move on?
Voodoo, voodoo.
Voodoo, voodoo. And they said it. Στο Βερολίνο θα είναι ωραίο με το έβδομο παρέα. Everyone, they all talk the talk, but they walk the walk, and that's what winners do.
Exactly. So
And Ataman delivered all season. He's been talking this big game, this
Yeah.
ego, and every time he made a comment, it got bigger. He went he took it to the next level. It's like, okay, we'll make it to the playoffs, we'll make it to the final four, and then at the end he was like, I'll bring the Everton home to Oaxaca. Like, and he just kept delivering, and I don't know, he just knew it, I guess.
a
A
lot of
lot of the journalists in Greece, football, but Panathinaikos journalists, you could call it. They're saying this seventh one is the biggest of the lot
yeah, I read
out of the seven.
interesting takes, but I want to put it for the record. In one of the earlier pods, I did say that we'll make Final Four. I was happy with the roster, so and yeah, finished second in the season and won the EuroLeague, and that's a testament to Ataman, DPG, and the squad. Even if you type up Panathinaikos BC on Google,
Yeah,
it comes up
Google.
flashing celebrations. And if you type up Panathinaikos FC, the same thing happens as well. It says Greek Cup champions, and that's going to bring us to the football segment with Panathinaikos. Playing against Aris in Volos, neutral stadium, empty stadium, but I'll discuss more where we beat Aris 1-0, courtesy of a Vayanidis 97th minute goal. Let's kick off the discussions, boys. How did you see the match overall? Anything you want to add on the
Garbage, right? I mean, skata. There was nothing to write home about for any side. And listen, I don't. I think it's easy to blame the players, but I said this before. Sure, maybe the players take some blame, the coaches take some blame, but for me, it's the atmosphere, man. The lack of atmosphere. I don't know what you could expect from either side to do in an empty stadium. You play up or down to the atmosphere. The atmosphere is top notch. You play up to the atmosphere. The atmosphere is non-existent. You play down to the atmosphere. So I wasn't not surprised. It's a final, so it's already going to be cagey. Neither team wants to lose. Neither team wants to make silly mistakes. So you're going to get a cagey match already from there. But when you factor in the no fans, I don't know what else you could what else you could expect. And it's just sad at the end of the day. We've said it for many months. We've said it before the game. It's just sad that's how it ended up being. And I would say that about the cup final, regardless of who's in it, whether we were in it or not. But yeah, I honestly, I'm not super surprised by the quality that we saw given the circumstances.
Yeah, look, obviously that's the elephant in the room is definitely the no fans. I was on the other podcast I do, a Last Football, yesterday, and I said I called it a glorified friendly, and that was all down to the lack of atmosphere. But there are other factors that contributed to that as well. The way artists came out to play, very dirty, trying to foul right from the first minute. Their only hope that they were pushing hard to do something off set pieces, which is odd because our defense, we've been talking all season about how bad we've been in most games defensively. I thought there was an opportunity for them to get at us. They had a couple of chances, but they didn't threaten us. Not that we did much either, going the other way in the final third. As you said, Alex, shocking game of football. Imagine a 3:30 a.m. kickoff for that. It was awful. As Serge was saying as well, what he went through half time. It was an awful game.
You you guys say this. Sorry, Nick. You guys say this all the time on LS Footy. The cup final is supposed to be the showcase piece of your football,
Yeah,
and that's the case for every country. And then this is the showcase. I mean, I hope
yeah,
no one who's outside of the Greek football world watched that because that's a fucking horrible advertisement.
exactly
Sadly
that.
enough, you want people to be watching this game. You want this to expand the market, grow the sport, all of this, and then that's what you put on, and it's just sad.
I said on the yesterday, imagine you tell someone in England you're going to have the FA Cup final this season played behind closed doors at Blackpool or Luton.
Yeah.
That's what happened here. And it wasn't the first time. It happened last season.
Yeah.
It all goes back to the governing body. But the other thing, in the circumstances that blew my mind, Alafouzos must have known that artists were going to have more than 30 fans there. And they weren't fans. They were Ganomeni, like Super 3. You could hear the
Were they
chanting.
actually in the
Yes.
stadium?
In the
Or
stadium,
were
there's
they
like
outside?
150 of them inside.
There was 30 in the stadium.
Provoking.
There's 100 waiting outside to try and get in.
Bro, you could see that they were making noise and everything.
How does that happen? I know the simple answer is it's
must have
Greece.
known.
Each club were given 30 tickets, and they were meant to give it
Yeah.
to their officials. Karipidis gave it to Super 3.
He did. Well,
Because I remember in the chat during when we were watching, I asked, "Is that Artist fans I can hear?" And
Yeah.
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
They're abusing the players, everything. So before we go into the controversies of the
What a small club they are.
Small club.
Joke of
Now
a club.
trophyless for 54 years, right?
Joke of a club.
without the Greek Cup, yeah,
Carry on. And this was their biggest game because they were playing for this for months.
I found this game.
That's what I was telling Sturge on the pregame space. How often is Aris in the position to A, win a trophy, and B, get such a good European ticket? Because this is a good European ticket, second round Europa League.
Yeah.
Usually if Aris is in that position, like take this past summer. They finished fifth. That was a European ticket. They start from first qualifying round conference. So Aris is never in this position to get a trophy and a good European ticket.
And they have themselves to blame. They can go do whatever they want to do about the ref, and we're going to get onto the controversies, as Sturge said, with a total of 3 red cards and all that. But they have themselves to blame and no one else.
Yeah, I found the game a bit weird. I'd say there was a lot of Jova elements in our approach in terms of playing safe as a house and very defensively organized well. Um, we didn't offer a lot of attack. I'd argue Artis had the biggest chance with the
Yeah,
header that Nottingham saved. They probably
that was
had
a massive save.
one
Yeah.
or two less threatening opportunities. Apart from that, everything else was from outside the box, but that's about it. We we had probably a decent chance with Mancini when he cut into the box.
Mm.
Fairly comfortable save for a keeper of that quality, the Artis keeper, but there was not much on offer from our end either. I'd argue once Kortiras got sent off, so Kortiras got sent off first, thinking like the 50th minute, and at that point it seemed like it was going to be doom and gloom, only because we weren't offering much in the attacking sense. Yeah, 51st minute he got sent off, so we just looked like shit, like this is pretty much done and dusted. But we looked fairly comfortable at that point, especially defensively. Darida from Aris should have been sent off in the 18th minute for his high foot. Studs showing absolutely reckless. That was a clear red. The fact that VAR didn't intervene or the ref just give it a straight red was bemusing. And funny enough, he then got his marching orders in the 65th minute. Second yellow. I think took out he took out Adal, or was it Ruben? One of the two. I think it was Ruben.
Ruben.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, Jules got straight red for lashing out at Bacaseta. So Bacaseta did a foul, and then the way he landed, Jules just lashed out, just kicked him, connected with him, straight red. It was embarrassing that a Sun journalist, a Greek Sun journalist, said that
Oh,
Baka is known for his acting. That was just embarrassing. So embarrassing media outlet and an embarrassing journalist, an Olympiacos journalist. So not even going to mention his name. Quite embarrassing to tweet that. So and
There's no controversy there. I don't get the take because everybody did their job correctly. The play gets reviewed by VAR, and if there's any doubt or controversy in the call on the field, they will ask the ref to go take a look at it. But there's none of that. I
exactly.
don't I don't I don't I don't understand any calls for controversy. It was confirmed by VAR, no further discussion. The ref was not asked to go look at it on the pitch. That's the operating procedure, and it all went smoothly. So I don't.
and
Yeah.
it's probably a good time to bring this up now with the referee. I thought she had a shocking game,
Yeah.
but both ways. And the big one was what Sturge said. They should have had their first red card early doors. And then you've got Artis after the game putting in complaints and saying the ref cost them the game. The ref, if anything, did them a favor.
The one thing that kind of I always ask for in refing is that if you're going to be consistently bad for both teams, and that she was. And I'm
Yeah,
not
she
saying that's
was.
a reason to commend her, but too often or not in Greece, you see bad refing and it favors one team over another, and then we start calling for conspiracy theories and fixed games. But she was just bad for both teams, which again is just at the end of the day is just bad. But there's no controversy because she was just bad for both fucking teams. She just had a bad day. And
But
that's
she's
all
not
it
an
is.
elite referee either, mind you. Remember that all the
Is she
chatter.
is she actually not? Is she actually
No,
not in the actual elite category?
correct. I think last season UEFA said they're not bringing any more elite to
That's
Greece
true.
after
That's
what
true.
happened.
So we did.
And that's the thing that the commentators we'll get onto we'll talk about the goal and then get onto the controversy right after the goal with the way they attacked her. But the commentators on my stream were saying in Greek, what an advertisement this is for Greece. Do you think she's going to go back to her country and advertise Greece and Greek football?
No, especially being a woman as well.
Well, that's even worse. Yeah.
So
Well, I guess they tried to do something advanced Greeks by getting a Greek ref, and then I said
And
after the
backfire.
match that's probably the first and last time you will see a foreign Greek ref in Greece. We've seen a Greek ref in sorry, a female ref in the Super League. She's Greek. But as in terms of foreign female refs, that's probably the first and last time, which is just upsetting because it's a step in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And
How,
even
how about the goal though? We got to talk about that surely.
because the game became 10 versus 9 and nothing was happening. Still to this point, 10 versus 9. We did a couple of subs at this point. At that,
Bayani.
nothing was happening. So yeah, the Vainidis came on for Mancini because
We had to
us
because we needed that
Because
right
of the
back.
Cochiras red.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it was a
correct.
clean red. Cortez had no arguments. The first
Yeah.
yellow popped.
No,
He
yeah.
got into an argument or a silly argument or and push with Zamora when it was Yedvai that did the tackle on him. So then he just went late again on Zamora. So really dumb play. That
Completely unnecessary that early one. I don't that really surprised me. Not because I don't think Cochiras does stuff like that, but like I know there's tensions. It's a cup final, but like there's no fans, there's no atmosphere, and maybe that's what led into that. Maybe that was part of the built up emotions. But you know, at least when in the cup final in 2022, there was tension there, but there was 60,000 fans. So I don't know. I was surprised that Cocheras did that. It was just silly,
red card of his
and for
career.
me, just going back to one thing about the ref, I actually don't think the ref where I saw the refing being the worst was in these small minor calls. It feels like she was trying to control the game too much. A ref in this cup final has to find a happy balance between calling things too easily, trying to put their foot down with a whistle. But it was these little fouls that I felt like were just forced whistles, like no contact fouls, back to back, one guy flopping. Because she got all the big calls right. I know she might have missed a Dorita in the 15th minute, but all the three red cards were actually red cards, the one that she gave. She didn't make any mistakes with the cards, but these small, minute fouls were just interrupted the rhythm of the game when it didn't need to, I think.
And Bernard was frustrated because he was on the brunt of most of them, so he was very frustrated. But speaking of Bernard in the 96th, 97th minute, and what was his last game, took on two players, found Wonka on his left, also his last game, and his last touch was an assist that found a low cross that found in the back post, Vayanidis on his own into an empty net and just slotted it home. For the last kick of the game, went straight to VAR for review. The VAR cleared onside for Juanca, and from there on, it went full time whistles, and that's what artists were complaining about. But we went through the injury time, so there couldn't be any complaints about the time. We were in attacking motion, so not too sure what they complained to her. And we'll go now with the
And
con.
there were no stoppages in stoppage time also, so there was nothing more to give. The goal came right at 97. It was a clean 7 minutes of stoppage time. Clean. Nothing happened. Just like the rest of the game, it was just completely eventless. So there wasn't anything to give on top of that. So that's just baseless.
Yeah, and the controversies are many. We've just discussed a couple. The pitch conditions were pretty bad. Long, thick grass, which ruined any
Mm.
flow of our game, any passing that we're more known for. While Artis is like a lot more long ball tactics. Our passing game was very disrupted with shocking pitch, shocking standard. The 30 tickets that we gave were to club officials, Fuzos' mates. Garipidis gave them to Super 3 with another 100 waiting outside to come in, chanting all game, VCS, everything. And that shows the standard of their club. Aris is a small tin pot club, the fourth biggest club in Thessaloniki. They're just a tin pot club. They're a tin
Who's
pot club.
third?
That was my thought.
And they're in second division. So Aris is tin pot club. Um, so and then chasing the referee after the game, like
Oh,
a female ref president, and I believe he made contact with her. So yeah, Ari should come under heavy sanctions because they organized this shit show with disagreeing that the game should be at Owaka to
no fans.
Orlos.
They played a role in that.
Yeah, so a lot of this was their own doing, and they lost this final. And it was good to see with all their shit show on hand, and they lost that, so that was good to see.
He's got to come. He's got to come under big punishment now. The scrutiny, minimum a few years without banned from attending any match. Surely, I don't know. Do you give them artists as a club behind games behind closed doors? That's more up for debate. But him himself has to come under big punishments.
I don't
They
think
already said that. Yes, go ahead, Serge.
I was gonna say I don't think the fans will be sanctioned because
That's fine.
they did get the 30 fans and whatever, but they
Yeah,
didn't
that's fine.
do anything, no flares or anything. But you'd have to say the
Him
club
personally.
officials, him and which other club officials that followed as well. I think that Jules guy as well acted inappropriately. They're the ones that should be coming under any kind of fines, any kind of sanctions. Alex, you had a point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think pretty close after the final whistle, they had already said some news source had already said that fines are going to be handed out. They already have like the people in mind who they're gonna hand out fines to, and then even further, you know, sanctions. I mean, it's Greece, so don't hold your breath, but
But yeah,
yeah.
They have to. There'd be an outrage and a half if he goes unpunished.
and I'm gonna save the last controversy as well. This was probably the most controversial moment. Not those parts. The players threw up Alafuzos in the air.
Oh, don't even. I'm angry all of a sudden.
Listen,
That pissed me off.
as the fans, it's gonna piss us off, and I think we have 100% the right to feel that way. I think Alki in the chat made a good point that the player relationship to Alafuzos is different than the fan relationship, and I think
That's
that's
a worry.
true.
That's a worry in itself.
He pays the bills or he pays the players, so
He pays the bonuses.
yeah.
That's why That's why they imagine you. Don't get me started. That really put a dampener on things for me. The feel good, the buzz, because you got one card, as you said, Sturge, like you couldn't have scripted it more beautifully. His last kick ever in a PAO jersey was him getting the match-winning assist in the cup final, which the ball was given to him by Bernard. Substitute academy boy Vayanidis to score the winner. You couldn't have scripted it any better. And then you've got Alafuzos being the main man of the celebrations.
Two
Give me a
most
break.
covered players, yeah, Bernard and Juanca involved in that. That was yeah, that was good to see. And then the
But
part
this is also
at Yakovidis.
Yes, Yakovidis. What a guy Yakovidis. Loves the club.
this is another thing worth talking about though, and I think it was Adoni who was talking about it like in the week before the final, is that winning the final is good and everything that comes with it is important, the trophy, Europa League. But does it mask the problems? And that's what Adoni didn't want, because then you have Alafuzos, for example, hiding behind the fact that there were wrong decisions made in the season and it was an up and down season. But then at the end of the day, we won the cup, so he could hide behind that.
Not for me.
Yeah,
Bad season for me.
look, I understand that point. We finished fourth in the league. We needed this cup to make Europa League, which is better situation than Ake, who finished second, 2 points or 1 point behind Park for the title. And they're playing in Conference League. So while it masks the club's problems, I think it also helps the club a bit more in terms of
That, yes.
the money, any kind of sponsorship, anything like that. the quality of players that we can attract compared to if we had no Europe. So while we know there are issues, ownership issues, the fan ownership relationship, whether even if he sells or not, who knows what's going to happen in that sense. Long term, the cup it is silverware, whether it's
Yeah.
a meaningless silverware or not. It's still important, but the significance of playing in Europe, still accruing points, fixing our seating, getting money, attracting players. That's what's beneficial. New coach as well. So we'll talk soon about coaching.
Was it you, Sturge, that put a message in that if we make the new league format, the prize money just for qualifying in the region of 10 million euro?
No, I
Wasn't you?
I don't know what the money situation is with Europa. I think you get a few million. The Champions League is much more, 20
But
million,
Champions League's ridiculous, yeah.
20 million for making the group stage. But yeah, the financial incentives are great for the club, but we don't know what Foz does with the money, the investment, anything like that. He sacks coaches. He got rid of Terim, and my prediction came true, boys.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
The cup
Well
without
done. Well done.
so that came true. But yeah, I can't see it being a bad thing. It does mask our problems, yes, and the issues, but it also doesn't put us in a worse off situation where it's just all hell breaks loose. So
No, I
Or
agree.
it would have been a catastrophe if we didn't win it.
Yes.
Then
Yes. I agree.
we'd be in full blown crisis mode. As Sturge
I
said, it's a trophy and it's our European ticket, and it's a bad season still, as I said.
I said this before the weekend that I would have traded a trophy in the cup final of football for I would have given up the EuroLeague trophy if it meant we for sure had the trophy in football, because the trophy in football, although the EuroLeague of course is bigger, it's a European trophy. The
Necessity.
trophy in football and what it brought, of course, Europe and the European qualification is more important for the future of the FC compared to the BC. The BC is on a good trajectory no matter what. Yes, the
Well
EuroLeague
done.
trophy is the cherry on top, but we're going to be good next year. And DPG knows what he's doing down the road. The FC without Europe next year, and we still have to make the group stage. That's important, not just the qualification, the group stage. But without those incentives, the FC is on a much worse path if we fail to secure that trophy.
The uncertainty is the killer. You spoke about the upward trajectory, the rebirth of the basketball side of things. The FC uncertainty. We've got to be acting quick. We've got to get a coach in within the next 7 to 10 days maximum.
Yeah,
We'll talk
both me
about
and you
some
said that. Yeah,
coaching names. We've got to really act fast because it all starts from the coach. If you don't have a coach, what hope are you with signings?
yeah,
I know Baldock's coming, Maximovic, I know Nikas, but the coach is going to have to stamp his mark on this squad. And there's a lot of players, as we've mentioned many times throughout the course of this season on this podcast, that need, it's an old squad as well. That's the other thing. And then you got guys like Villena, or I don't think necessarily Villena's going to go anywhere, but on big wages, not playing, underwhelmed. You got issues like that in the squad as well. So it all starts with the coach. Got to nail it ASAP.
yeah.
and I think it will. I think both me and you said, Nick, that June 1st. I know that feels like it's very close because it's June 28th today.
Great.
So that's only 3-4
Yeah.
days. But I think before June 1st, June 10th, the latest. I think we're gonna have the coach for everything that you said, because you know European games in July. Signings. It's only a month and a half, really. You got to get the team. You got to get your players. You got to get the team gelling. You got to get familiar with everyone. It's not a lot of time, and you can't those no matter what round we start in Europa League, it's important. You got to put your people away, because you only have one bogey round. Can't lose two rounds, because then you're out of Europe. You got to
Well,
you got to you only have one room to trip up.
yes, that's the big thing. That's the big positive for me out of all this. The cup that we do get that one chance, the Peritorio, the wriggle room.
No,
Whereas at the conference league that Sturge mentioned, they don't have that. They've got to be
got
perfect.
to be
Otherwise,
perfect.
no
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah, and with the coaching links that's being said, the five essentially most solid names have come out in reports. So the four were reported in the Greek media. They were Italiano, which is the current Fiorentina manager, 47 years old, has him in the Conference League final, finished eighth in Italy. I didn't think he would be the choice because it's
No.
been said that we're going for an experienced, more mature person. I also thought he might be up for a bigger gig,
Yeah.
pretty good, or he might stay at Fiorentina. But I've had an Italian correct me on that his relationship with the fans isn't the best either. So that was quite
Huh.
interesting. Yeah, I got
Well,
correct.
that's surprising considering they're
Yeah.
flying high.
Yeah, I got corrected on that.
Well,
So that was interesting. Benitez, I mean,
big no.
the big no. He's just fouled everywhere he goes. He's just
I'm
a
I'm st I'm starting to think that Benitez might be the most likely scenario, but I agree with you guys that I also say no. But based on what we've heard and the rumors and the talk about what this guy is, I'm starting to think that it might be Benitez, unfortunately.
I
Oh, I
re-
think it might be someone else.
he almost got Celta relegated. It's just
Yeah,
got.
I don't agree with it. I agree with you guys that I don't like him as an option, but I just got a gut feeling that it might be him.
I think the next two names are probably the more realistic ones
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
my gut feeling, especially
That's sorry.
mold of an older coach, Mazzari, who last was at Napoli. I think he was maybe at Qatar club as well. Um, Mazzari or Rudy Garcia as well, who took over Mazzari at Napoli. Got fired as well. So, but Napoli's a tough gig. Not many coaches see out their tenure there. So, um, Rudy Garcia had quite a bit of success in
Marseille.
with Lille. Lille.
Lille. Okay. Didn't he coach Marseille as well?
Did, but he didn't achieve what he did.
Okay.
Well, he won the league with Lille, so he's had a few gigs like at Roma, but he's been linked
What
before in the with Greece national team prior to Poyet from memory. Um,
Okay.
but I
Well,
what do
Argos
you
was
guys
at Watford.
sorry.
Matsari, he was at Watford years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. But Watford's run by
You
the
know what Watford's like. They're
they've got the Italian guy that
conveyor belt.
owned by Udinese as well. So
Yeah.
um, we'll see.
what do you guys make of this list being Italian heavy?
I don't know.
I I don't know, but oh, Rudy Garcia is I think French, so
French, but he's
But
coached
the
in
other,
Italy.
yeah.
He's coached in Italy. A
yeah,
couple of clubs.
Benitez Spanish, but
everyone's Italian or has Italian connections.
mentioned
What about the other name that we haven't mentioned
yeah,
yet? The guy I think, in
I,
my eyes, is the box seat.
yeah.
Pedro Martins.
According to Portuguese media, a bola, which is I got this confirmed. I had to reach out before coming onto the podcast from my Portuguese friend. What's the reliability of a bola? He goes, they're fairly accurate. They're very reliable. So they mentioned that Pedro Martins was considered one of the favorites to take over the Panathinaikos job. Pedro Martins was at Olympiacos for 3 and a bit years, won the league 3 years in a row,
And
won
the cup.
and the cup. Yeah, one of their he's the longest serving coach in a single tenure
Yep.
with Olympiacos.
He's their best coach in a decade.
Yeah.
They haven't been the same without him.
Yep.
We've had some absolute clowns. Yeah,
Yep.
When they sacked Pedro Martins, even though they were doing poorly, I think it felt how the other teams felt when we sacked Yova, a
Yeah.
mistake, because they let a good guy go, and you stick with him, and you probably get through the rough patch anyway.
a lot of them say like he didn't really produce the next batch of players that after like Tsimikas, Podence and all that. But I don't think the club backed him after that third season to strengthen the squad. If you look at the names that they had in the last couple of years, they haven't really done anything. So I don't put the blame on him for that. I think he's a talented coach. He was just coaching right now in Qatar. He finished third in there, but he won Manager of the Year. So
Yes, I saw that.
That's interesting. So he must have taken like over like a team with that doesn't do often too well, and he finished third with them. So that was quite interesting. And a coach like that, he's probably looking to come back to Europe at opportunities. So um,
He
just
must be making good money in Qatar though.
yeah, yeah. But I think like Europeans in that gig, they go there for that 1 2 years.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, he's
he's a
young
bit
too. You know,
younger
he's
than the
not
others.
Yeah,
Spot on.
Something 51, 54, one of the
50, early
yeah,
50s, yeah. The
yeah.
others are early to mid 60s.
yeah.
I think that's an interesting name. It's not something I oppose. A lot of these, yeah, Gavi that don't really know too much about football,
Let him, yeah. Yeah.
making these comments that he's not good enough. Not he suits our level, whatever. But
Listen, any manager who stays 4 years at one team in the Greek league, he's a good fucking manager. Let me tell you, like
considering
that
that
doesn't happen.
Jovanovic couldn't even do that.
considering
Yeah,
they've only beat us once in the last 10 games, it's quite bold that they say that he's coming to our level. So, um. So yeah, I think he'd be a really good choice. It's just let's see what personnel whichever the next manager brings in and that system that they bring in elevates us because as we know with the Europa League dependent on Dortmund, if they can beat Real Madrid, we will start in the second round. Leverkusen didn't do us the favor when they were heavy favorites, which was quite the shock. But
I I thought that was the case, but it's been already confirmed everywhere that we're starting from the second qualifying round.
is that certain? I thought we were always
Certain, certain,
okay.
really.
certain. I had to look around 3, 4 different places. Everyone's certain.
I
I
was
thought the
also under
same
the
as you.
impression that it was relying on the finals, the
So
two
did I.
finals.
So did I.
Okay, that makes it interesting. And
25th of July, first game.
yeah,
We'll be unseeded.
oh, we're unseated. That's not good.
But if we, so it, I know we're jumping ahead, but we start unseeded. If we beat a seeded opponent, then in the next round we remain seeded. Good, good, good,
Correct. Correct.
good, good.
And those opponents, not all are confirmed because they're still waiting for domestic cups and the finish of the Belgian league, for example. Like Circle Bruges is third at the moment. Whether they end there or not's a different thing. But Ajax is one of them. Trabzonspor, Molde, our kryptonite, Braga. They're the ones we absolutely must avoid. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very, very hard. Uh, Ironically enough, Rapid Vienna, who we share good relations with. Rijeka was another one, and Sheriff Tiraspol wasn't confirmed, but they're one of the potential ones if they get through there. Yeah, there's a couple more as well that aren't confirmed.
Oh, that's yeah, that's quite
I
interesting.
mean, Ajax aren't what they were. But still, I'd like to avoid them. Braga's the
Yeah.
one that we've got to avoid.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They're always going to be a solid team. So let's yeah, I'm just bringing up this list right now. Funny enough, projected spots. Yeah, so at the moment in the 2004-2005 Europa League, we're still currently the last seeded team in pot
Last,
four. Yeah, and a fair way away from Servette, the Swedish Switzerland team, I think.
yeah, Swiss.
That's on, yeah.
Yeah, so
And that's the thing with Europa. I'd love to see us get Europa this season as opposed to the conference this season. I know we've got the wiggle room where we can lose a tie and we can still drop down a conference. Conference League, the format is only 6 games. Champions League, Europa League is 8 games, 8 European League games, 2 extra
But
games.
there's no dropping down now in
No
competition.
dropping down though. But
Yeah.
the prize money, the prestige, as Sturge said as well, the luring of players, and you get 2 extra games that way as well to test yourself against better quality opponents.
Hey, Chelsea's in Conference League next year though.
yeah,
Chelsea's, yeah.
so yeah, the significance of we've discussed the significance of Europe, but yeah, interesting date. So yeah, and don't forget it's almost straight after Euro, so a lot of those players might be given rest as well at some of these seeded clubs. Like your Ajax might have quite a few players representing their national teams.
Dutch.
We're
Yeah.
not too affected. Maximovic with Serbia, Depends on how they finish. Just a couple of them. I don't think we've got really anyone else. Juricic, I didn't think make the squad. A couple of the
Juricic retired from the national team. He
yeah,
put out a post a couple
Oh,
weeks ago.
okay. I missed
Yeah.
it. Mladenovic made the squad, didn't he?
yes, I
I
believe it.
don't know about Mladenovic.
I think he did.
He must have.
The
The Slovenians, how? No, I reckon they're going to shock a few, but how realistically, how far can they go?
let's see if they're sold off as well, the Slovenian boys.
That's true.
So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, in terms of coaching, yeah, who do you guys favor in that list? I know we kind of touched. I'm probably
Martins.
Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would favor Martins too.
I mean, ideally, either Fiorentina guy, but I think that's unrealistic.
Yeah, I really think that's the unrealistic one. I'd say realistic would be Martins.
I'd take him. I'd get behind it.
No, I think he's the best option. He knows out of those guys, he knows the league best. Period. You know, he was in the league and he bossed the league. So
yeah, it's a no-brainer. I was always, team Vocalos up until this option. Obviously, I'd prefer Martins.
are we worried about, because you mentioned Sturge, or maybe it was you, Nick, I don't remember, but about how Olympiacos fans were upset with how he handled the next generation. Are we worried about, you know, youth development with him if he falls into the same habits?
I don't think it's his fault. I think his hands are tied. Whoever comes in, that's
Yeah.
Banatha fans and Sturgis mate, Papa Dimitriou.
Yeah, he wasn't back that early, in my opinion. At the end of his tenure, sorry. As long as he's backed, he brings in the personnel. He's got a say in the personnel because at Terem's exit, he kind of alluded to the fact that he wasn't given the players he actually wanted, which is an interesting comment. We know other coaches have said the same thing. We know Yova wasn't given the players he was given. I think Dornis has made remarks
Uzunidis.
so we know Papa Dimitriou has had a say, and he's the only one that has survived the axe. So
That's wild.
and yeah, well, the next topic is a little bit more on the player departures. So we know in player departures so far, we know Bernard and Juanca are gone. We've also probably seen the last of Palacios, who
Yeah.
fell apart quite a bit in the playoffs. I was a big fan of him all season. I was arguing he was probably one of our top players. Probably
Well,
third.
he
Yeah.
was for the first half of the season, first 2/3 of the season. It was only recently that he fell off. Um, he definitely was one of the players of the season. You know, he was our most reliable winger before Bernard kind of turned it around when Tarim came. Palacios was our most reliable winger.
We saw the last of Akaydin as well. Club cut ties with him after his Turkish nationalistic views. The post that he did, and he refused to apologize for it as well. I don't see us. Victor Hugo will be gone as well. Um, you're on mute.
You're muted.
Uh,
What a waste. I was saying, I was so hopeful, like optimistic when we signed him, thinking, is he the guy to turn our defense around? Okay, we all knew he was going to be a waste of a signing, but I thought the Brazilian was going to bring something to the table, and he flopped massively.
we know, yeah, he did. We know. Brignoli's gone as well. Questions over Drakowski. He didn't play the last couple of games, which was interesting, especially the cup final. Everyone
Yeah.
thought he'd get the start, but yeah, didn't make the starting 11. There's rumors that the release clause is, I think, between 3.5 to 4.5 million. Which was rumored. We've made from what just reading, I don't know how accurate it is. We're not going higher than 1.2 million.
Yeah, good.
So that would be an interesting development. So we'll just wait on that.
I think that's
For
fair.
that,
I think that's
yeah,
fair.
I'd take him for that price.
Yeah. I don't think there's any reason to pay more. I think if the club is willing to lower their demands, I mean Spezia on their side because of their situation in Serie B, I don't think there's any reason to pay the full amount. And also, I think Nick, you were saying the other day, like if this guy can't get a start in the cup final, then why overpay for him?
Exactly. If it's the 1.2, that's fine by me if we get him for
Yeah.
that. Wouldn't be opposed to it. The 4 million, I'd be, question marks.
We know positive news that just released in the last couple of hours that
Sensational.
we've announced the signing of Jedvaj, so we've activated that clause. I think it was like that a one point.
1.5.
Oh, it was one
One
and
and
a
a
half.
half. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great news.
yeah. I think
Very good move. Very good move.
he's been a really solid player for us. Felt he was great. Incoming players would be so far Baldock Nikas, who was from Leverkusen, won the second division with them. He'll come into the squad, but probably in that backup role. Maximovic, we know, would have a couple of the boys return from loan. So the guy that went to Rijeka,
Oh, Kleinheisler.
there's
Kleinheiser. They're not going to try to sign him on a permanent.
Yeah, get rid. If they don't, get rid.
Kleinheisler and Tokai as well. Sorry.
So, guy, what's the other bloke? The French guy
Uh,
went to Volos.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I don't see the club retaining him.
Yeah, no.
I'd say those three are definitely gone. The loan players, we'll try and offload them to whatever we can get.
Then it's what you've been saying as well. Setting question mark. Vayanivis question mark. 40 question mark.
Well, the question mark would be over Kortsiras as well.
Godziras question mark. Yeah,
Because Kortsiras comes off contract and he hasn't
he hasn't accepted.
played. So, and we saw his performance. Did he have his last kick of the ball with us as well? Do we keep Vajanidis? So I'm probably, if I had the choice between the two, because the club said that they will only sell overseas, and apparently was it Heerenveen or Hoffenheim? Sorry, offered 2 million. We asked for 6 million. 2 million's a low ball in my opinion. I would rather keep him over Kortiras. If
100%.
I'm Bulldog,
No reason.
I'd keep Vajanidis. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see the transfers. So I'll probably do another blog soon, rating out of 10 all the transfers that came in this season. So I'll get working on that and publish it on our blog for everyone to read. But let's go into overall season review of the FC. If we're to rate it in grades of letters, Alex, we'll go alphabetically. Alex,
Letters. Okay.
You got me thinking.
Yeah, this is tough because it's been up and down, and we kind of, just to put it in the simplest terms, we did the worst we could possibly do in the league. Fourth. Because we're competing with the top four. Forget about Addis and the other one. So in terms of league finish, it was the worst possible finish, realistic finish. But in terms of the cup, it was the best possible finish. So for me, it's got to be somewhere in the middle. You gotta weigh those two and kind of take the average of them. So I'm gonna say something like B minus.
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of a C. Because you've also got to factor in, this is the same season. I know it was a long time ago, but it's the same season where we knocked Marseille out of Champions League qualifiers in a brilliant two-legged performance. To beat them at Leofordos was phenomenal. And then to go beat them on penalties away in front of their fans, equally as crazy. We also had a great performance in Europe against Villarreal. That's this season. Then in the Cup, we beat Olympiacos with 13 or 14 odd injuries on penalties at their place. We beat Atromitos away at Peristeri with a 94th, 95th minute winner, last kick of the game. We beat Balk over 2 legs with a great first leg performance at Dumba, but eventually it was a Limnios 129th minute equaliser when Baba Rahman had that injury, and then the penalties that wouldn't finish. Then the final against Stardust, the last kick of the game as well. So the cup was deserved, but the league was a catastrophe. Those 3 games before the playoffs. Then the Lamia, Orfi, and who was the other one?
Kifisia.
Then you've got Ike 3-0 when it mattered in the playoffs. That I've got to go see.
Even you'd say Artie sat home straight after that as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna correct you on the Atromitos last kick. It was the last header of the game.
Header, yeah, you know what I mean. Last ditch. Mladenovic.
Mladenovic looping header. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Alex. I think B minus if I was to rank the season. And you boys are correct. We had highs and lows.
Well,
Some
there's
European
also Maccabi Haifa.
there was some
It was a
European
big
highs,
low.
some
Big
European
low.
lows. That was probably the thing that sealed Jova's fate. Greek League highs and lows. We were leading at one point. I think we opened up a 4-point lead, which didn't last long.
We had I saw a stat recently, a couple weeks ago. I think we were the team with the second most days spent in first place this year.
I didn't know that.
That's cruel. That's cruel.
Don't quote me, but I believe that's what I saw.
We had arguably the biggest gap of 4 points is what we opened up, and that got dropped. Again, playoffs, we're putting ourselves in a decent position, especially after that Lamia game where we had beaten Ike. We're talking Protatlima.
Hmm.
And then as per Terim, we conceded that early goal. So
Yeah, that was a real feature, wasn't it, of these playoffs? Those early goals.
So yeah, so once again, we experienced highs in the league, and we experienced lows. Draws at the end of the regular season, the playoffs at the end. Jova sacking would definitely.
I said it from the second or third game of the playoffs. It's just unsustainable to keep conceding these early goals. It's going to catch up to you at some point. It just kept happening game after game after game up until the 7th or 8th game of the playoffs, and then at that point we were out of it. But sure, 1 or 2 games you flip the score, fantastic, good, shows grit, but that's not sustainable over many games. Just not.
Yeah.
All season since Magnuson went down, there was alarm bells from then.
You said it, Nick, just
back,
from that game, how much that was going to hurt us.
Yeah. Hopefully now when he comes back, he gets a full preseason under his belt, and it's him and Gedvaya, the first choice.
Yeah, and that allows Adal to go into that 6th role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a point on that, but yeah, Magnuson was a big out as well throughout the season. That one really stung. Him having a preseason is going to be highly important, and I think Limnios having a full preseason.
Yes.
The squad very raw. Terim just continued to play him, especially against Ike, and I can't fault Limnios. He just wasn't ready. He didn't have any preseason, anything like that. He was signed by us in January, and he did what he tried to do. Like you can tell his sharpness wasn't there. Very anonymous in almost all the games. He scored against the important goal against Bulk, but hit the post against Lamia in that 5-0 away win. But there's nothing else notable from that. What he did, he skied the penalty versus Bulk, but you can tell the sharpness wasn't there. He wasn't there. So a full preseason under him, I think, will be a big boost. He can feel that the Palacios void. And Mancini, Mancini can play on the left as well, or I think Limnios can play on that left. So there's options there. We don't know what's going to happen with Aitor either. So that's one to see. But
Bernard's the big loss so far. Like that's the on-field quality was huge. Though the back half, the second half of this season, the personality is big as well. Leadership.
I was a magician. But yeah, I'd say, yeah, like I said, and Panatha fan as well would say that a lot of it was you saw that transformation in his last 6 months, really. especially since Terim came. We saw a Bernard that was determined, that was just giving it his all. So he'll be missed. I think you could see his quality as well. It finally came. I think last season it lacked. This season it showed. So, but the players have big shoes to fill, and we'll see what kind of signings we also bring in as well with that.
Player of the season, if you guys had to say,
It's hard
Got to
to,
be 40.
yeah,
40,
hard.
40 or Bernard.
I think it's hard to argue against 40.
Oh yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say 40 first, Bernard second.
Yeah. I think Bernard, the thing that goes against Bernard, again, great
The
season.
slow
Sturge, you
start.
said it perfectly well. Started slow. I think his only noteworthy performance in the first half was that game
Marseille.
where the hat trick. No, and the hat trick against it was a Panathinaikos or whatever,
Marseille as
but he
well.
was
He
good.
had a great game.
He was good in the qualifiers, yeah. But he wasn't good for an extended amount of
Yeah,
time
no,
in
no,
that
of
first
course.
half. Like Sturge said, it was only around when Tareem came that he really picked it up. So I think over the full season, I think it has to be 40.
Yeah, and probably 40, but then Aral third.
And Arau, yeah, Arau.
Yeah.
I think Arau. You can't understate what Arau did. Like, not only a quality player, but filled in gaps where when we really needed them. Did what was asked of him. Became that makeshift center back and kind of bossed it. There was a time and point where we were worried about the depth at center back, but then Yedvay and Arau started getting familiar with each other and they started clicking, and then those talks kind of went out the window. So he did everything that was asked of him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with those points there. Yeah, they'd be easily top three, and yeah, 40 Bernard Dado in that order.
Yeah.
And I think new reports came out from an English, I don't know how reliable site it is, that West Ham were after Pavlidis. I don't know if it was
Oh,
just one or the other, Pavlidis and Ioannidis as well. So
They can take Pavlidis.
that will be the one to watch as well. So obviously, Forty's name's going to be mentioned. I don't think the Sporting. I think the Sporting links will completely die off now because, um, from my understanding, Gyökeres is staying one more year in Portugal. I believe there's an agreement between him and the club that he'll stay one more year, there as well. So I I expect those rumors to be gone. We'll see what other clubs are going to be popping up mentioning that name over the summer. Any
the no Euro makes it more likely that he sticks around, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, why not? I hope so.
And obviously he gets to heal up and rest as well. We saw pretty much it was even in that cup final, he wasn't himself.
No,
He was
no.
pretty
No.
anonymous. He
What
was,
was this? Remember the thing with the fan, the 6
Yeah.
injections
yeah,
that he mentioned? They need to rest up. They've got a 5 week period or whatever it is, where it's an proper off season where they can just rest up. Bakasetas is already in the Seychelles.
is he? Can't
Yeah.
believe he take 40 with him. So yeah, 40 will be missing him those Fredo sessions. But yeah,
Fotias Vulgaraki, he's all right. Diakopesma di Vulgaraki.
but yeah, been a roller coaster football season.
Wow.
So that's the last of it for the next couple of months. We do have still the basketball. But Alex, pleasure that you joined us. Finally, we got
Yeah,
an
thank you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Italian American combination. We didn't quite get Mitos joining us, but the guy's having the time of his life studying,
I think he'll get at us.
studying abroad. Um, Literally picking up a Yaneka at the celebration. Literally, so we love you, Mito. But yeah, always a pleasure. chatting with you, boys. We still have.
Also, very, very, very quickly, Sturge, unconfirmed. I think you read it as well. Oaka for
Yeah.
next season.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that.
Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Is that almost likely?
It's being reported now in 5, 6 different places.
I think it's a done deal. I think we will be playing out of just basically what everyone's reporting that it is done deal. I'm
How do you
personally
boys feel about that?
I'm very against the playing.
Thumbs down.
We're not going to get big crowds there.
Uh,
Getting 10, 12, 15,000 in a stadium like that, in an 80,000 seater stadium, 70,000 seater stadium, it just feels soulless. It just feels empty.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not as opposed to it as what I was this time 12 months ago. It's still a no from me. The only reason I say I'm not as opposed to it is because I've still got the Braga and Villarreal games stuck in my mind. But I know what you guys are going to say is that's when we sold it out. How often is it going to sell out? It's not
Yeah.
going to sell out every home game, obviously. You need minimum 40, 50,000 bare minimum in my eyes, for it to be good. And we're not going to get that every single home game. No one in Greece will.
I don't even think it's certain that in the derby, say Olympiacos, like, yeah, you're gonna fill it up more than if you had a Lamia, but are you gonna sell it out against Olympiacos? Maybe,
No.
maybe not. I don't know.
Depends on
Um,
how the team's going, the circumstances.
yeah,
Look, the hope is if we go there, I'm trying to look at it as objectively as possible, taking my bias out of it of wanting to stay at Leoforos. They're thinking, what's better? 16,000 for the club's thinking, what's better? 16,000 at Leoforos? Or they're probably thinking we can get week in, week out 20,000 at Oaka. They're saying, let's get an extra 4,000 people there
I don't think that's the case because there's such a
at the expense of the atmosphere.
yeah, but there's such a disconnect between the fans and ownership that I don't think we'll get 20,000. Even Del Forest doesn't sell out, so
I'm saying what the club's thinking.
yeah.
They're oblivious to a lot of things.
Del Forest doesn't sell out. Oaxaca's a little bit more difficult to get to, say.
yeah, that's another thing I was
Yes,
thinking
a
about.
bit further, yeah.
Yeah,
Leofotos is right in the middle of the
In the
city,
middle.
and it has the better train line.
Right there. Train's right
Oaxaca's
there.
all the way at the end of the horrible train line, and it's out of the city. Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, you have to. I just think it's a terrible decision. Del Forest is our traditional home.
Of course.
There's no good answer. At the end of the day, the way I think about it is that there's pros and cons to both situations, and even staying at Loforos, which is my vote too, but that has its drawbacks too. You're capped at 16,000. Let's say you make group stages of Europe. You know,
I don't think Europe.
you're not going to be able to play there. You're not going to be able
They'd
to play
move
there.
us.
They
They'd
yeah,
move us.
But that's a problem in itself. I don't. It's not good to have a just disjointed home. Obviously, Oaxaca has to be the call in Europe, but having a disjointed home is not a good thing. So there's plus and minuses to both scenarios. There's no perfect solution until we get this Yipa
Yeah.
though.
yeah.
I'm also worried about Oaxaca. If we move to Oaxaca, let's say we move to Oaxaca, for the next years, does it make the management complacent? Does it push back the Yipido even more because now the situation is a little more stable than in Leoforos where you have to switch between stadiums. You got to go there for European games, here for domestic games. I'm worried that Oaxaca will just make it okay. We got the stadium kind of stable. The new stadium can take its time, can take 10, 20, 30, 50 years.
Yeah.
There's a
That too.
the projection is to be finished 2026, ready for 2027. That was the last items. But yeah,
Wake me up when that happens.
a double-edged sword in terms of the atmospheres there could be either great on a European night, Braga, Villarreal, Marseille.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be bad. Imagine hosting Galicia in that stadium.
Yeah. And if things aren't going well.
Just yeah, exactly. And if things aren't going well, so you're looking at what 8,000, so 10% capacity in that stadium, which is the equivalent of 1,600 fans at Leoforo. So yeah, so
Not good.
I don't like it. For big games, European games, I could see the case for, but teams like Lamia, that
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
Let me end on this note before we stop. Panathinaikos is the biggest multi-sport club in Greece, and this weekend we were talking about how this is maybe the best green weekend ever. This weekend
Ever.
we proved once again why that is the case. That Panathinaikos is the biggest multi-sport club. Within 24 hours, two trophies, one in each of the two major sports. One was a European title. I think a lot of times many people forget, especially outside of our fandom, our rivals, that that's the case, that we're the biggest multi-sport club in Greece. I know the 2010s weren't good, but for both the BC and the FC, obviously the FC had a big stretch in there. The BC was only bad for like, a little on the tail end of that decade. But even within our fandom, there's been a lot of gloom. But this weekend again, we solidified that point that this is the biggest multi-sport club in Greece, and there was no better way to do it than this weekend. It was just a dream.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say it was a very good sporting weekend. So, you know,
For you especially.
many sleepless nights.
I mean,
Really,
it was great for me, but for you, it's
yeah.
11 out of 10.
And in the rugby, me and Nick's teams are pretty big rivals. My team
Yeah.
got the win there. Then Panathinaikos with the final four. Then the dumb decision by me to stay up and watch the FA Cup final before the Greek Cup final, which led to a no sleep night. Um, Followed by the following day, the final of EuroLeague. So it was pretty big on sports and a lot of success there.
We've got our sleep now, Sturge, for a while. I've put a ban on myself for the Euros.
Yeah, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. That's the only grateful thing that Greece didn't make. So, um, players get to rest, and I get to rest as well. We sleep. There's no,
Late July, though, we're going to be back.
yeah, late July, even after the basketball.
Of course. No, I'm saying the sleepless nights, regular sleepless nights, because that's going to be, if we go all the way through, it's going to be one game a week throughout August.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's hope.
exactly. I think we can end it with that quote.
Uh, as we ended, I want you guys to know, can you hear this?
No,
No?
no,
No?
no,
Ah, damn. I'm not a tech guy. It's just trying to play the hymno. Silogos Megalos.
no. Unfortunately, not. But just for the purpose, I'll do it in on your behalf.
Thank you. What a season.
After the ads come from YouTube as well.
What a season.
It's been
Incredible.
yeah, yeah, especially on the basketball side, not so much on the football side, but
Hey, both ended in trophies.
thank you all for listening.